retention of the fundamentals for the older guys from spring and the summer, but also retention of knowledge, situational football, and then for the newcomers, retention of the schemes that are going in. And right now, things are going to start to accelerate because for the youngsters, it's not just offense and defense. Now you start putting in special team schemes and the fundamentals and details that go along with that too. So I thought it was a very, very productive start. Tomorrow, again, is a very critical day for us, but pleased overall for the first day.
Coach, you talked yesterday about being eager to see the passing game, how it progressed. How would you describe that today?
A lot of work still to do, which you would expect, but also really excited. I thought our receivers did some good things. I liked what the quarterbacks did. You could tell their progressions. They were quicker from spring. I thought their decision-making process was much better, but again, we don't have the pads on. When all of a sudden, you had a live rush coming at you, some things change. But I was also encouraged by our wide receivers and our youngsters there as well.
Butch, to have the second full practice field for the defense, how big is that just for the program? And looking at the third field coming along.
We need that third field because, again, we chart everything in yards run, and a lot of times the yardage is just in transitions. And so when we get the other field, it's going to be critical for us because now you go side by side, which most practice fields, that's the setup. But be able to have our defense have a full 120 yards will be invaluable, and not just defensively, but also from a special team standpoint, but also from a quality of practice with field space and also the quality of grass as well.
When's the third one going to be done?
They'll start working on that, and we're hoping to have it by spring.
Butch, how's Khalil McKenzie coming along?
Again, it's just wearing helmets, but I like everything I've seen from him, and not just on the field, but in a leadership role as well. I thought his get off on the ball again, but for a defensive lineman right now, it's just all about your technique and the use of your hands and the fine details. We'll know more obviously when the pads go on.
Let's talk about Nigel Warrior. Looks like he's put on some more muscle and still has kind of that quickness. Talk about it.
He does. He's had a good off season. He was set back a little bit with some teeth, but he's putting the weight back on that he had established for himself earlier in the summer. But Nigel is very, very explosive, very quick. And I think that the experience that he gained last year, those valuable repetitions, will really benefit and aid him in moving forward. But excited about him and excited about all of our defensive backs. And there's some competition in the back end of our defense, and we know that competitive structure is very, very healthy.
You jumped in and played some corner. You gonna be playing corner this year?
You saw a bad athlete right there.
I know obviously it's the first day.
I kind of felt like Wes Rucker, lining up, but that's all right.
I know it's the long way to go, first day and all that, but when you see some of those newcomers kind of join the tight end group, running back group, and all that, is there a comforting sense to kind of see some more depth and athleticism?
Well, I think you all saw that when we went pat and go. And, I think we've elevated our skill set now. It's the maturation process of these youngsters and who can help us, and making sure that we don't put too much stress on them right away and pressure and expectations on them. Just like Trey Smith, even though he was the #1 player in the country, he's still not played one down of football here, and he's still a true freshman. And so we have to be careful that, again, we don't place too much on them at such an early stage of the game, but we have great expectations for all these freshmen. And again, I like the way our older players are leading them, but you could see that we've greatly improved our skill set.
What was the feedback you got from the other players regarding the 7-on-7 sessions over the summer in the quarterbacks? What do you look for? Who do you ask to see how that went?
Well, you always go towards your older players, players that that have been in their program and understand the expectations, and they liked it. There was a time where we had to hold off a little bit when camp is getting near, just because of collisions and getting them to the practice field. But I thought it was extremely beneficial for the timing and the rhythm, and like I spoke about yesterday, not just from an offensive standpoint, but from a defensive standpoint as well in the back end of our defense.
If there's a takeaway from today, what would it be? I mean, I know that just the general sense you opened up with, but was there anything you came out of here with?
Oh, there's a lot. I mean, we have to, you're going to make mistakes, and You know, we talk about make the mistakes, but they'll never be tolerated. But that's how you learn through this, and we can't make the same mistakes twice as a football team, as individuals. When we come back tomorrow, we got to make sure our practice habits are a little bit better. We got to make sure our style of play is a little bit better. We got to make sure our retention is there from install 1, because now we go to install 2. So there's so much, and it just becomes the compound effect each and every day. And having that mental fortitude, that mental toughness, to leave from here after meetings and go home and study your playbook and stay one step ahead of the game. So we have to make tremendous strides tomorrow. Every day is critical, but there's some things we have to improve as well too. Our punt team, our punt coverage, that was unacceptable last year, and I take responsibility for that as the head coach, and that's what I told our football team. We take great pride in playing great special teams around here, and I think you guys saw it. You saw some older players working with some younger players on our punt team after practice, and I didn't even have to say anything. And to me, that's leadership. That's a win right there. But again, being a better football team, we come out tomorrow just in our transitions, our style of play, how we tag off, all those things, the execution, catching the football more cleanly, the way we carry the football, our strip attempts, all those things that go into the fine details of playing winning football.
But a couple of players said they were motivated last week by the preseason pick. Is there some of that going on with you coaches too?
You know, again, it's like I told our football team, we're responsible for what we create. And so if we're worried about where we're picked, we're not worried on the small details of winning football games and those fundamentals. And sure, it may be in the back of your mind when people doubt you, but whatever you need to use for motivation. But for us, it's focusing on the process, and that's being a better football team each and every day, and really focus on what do I need to do to get better from today to tomorrow. And it's like I challenge our players, keep a journal. Keep a journal of every day of camp and write down the fundamentals and the details that it takes to play at a great level at your position group, and then rank yourself, rate yourself every single day, chart yourself, and those are all the things that great players do, driven players that are doing. You just can't leave here and turn it off. You got to live it. It's football time.